Yo, YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy Kari 𝐥𝐤𝐤 here, back again with another video. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so today we're talking about, are gringos making Medellin dangerous? We oftentimes hear gringos referencing Colombia's past and associating it with danger, terror, and all those types of things. Obviously, we know a lot of that can be true, has been true in the past, and some of it is still true today. I would say that for the most part, that era, the dangerous era in Medellin's history, was a different type of violence than what the gringo community is facing currently today. Okay, nowadays we tend to see foreigners being attacked by Colombians in various different forms, most notably scopolamine druggings, arm jackings, love scams. These are the things that make Colombia dangerous today. There's a exhaustive list, right? I mean, I could go on and on, but those are just some of the main ones that you hear about. Do I need to name more? I mean, you guys can fill in the blanks down in the comments. What other things are gringos running into specifically out here in Colombia? Anyway, my point is that a lot of that could be avoided if you have the right information about the culture and you know how to move in certain environment. I think it's important to mention those both because a lot of gringos come here and they are aware of the danger, but they don't know how to move in a dangerous environment per se. All right, how to move in a dangerous environment. Now, I don't mean that all of Colombia is super dangerous, but you kind of have to keep that guard up and just look out for danger, because out here in Colombia, you never know when it's around the corner. It's a lot harder. You don't have necessarily the senses to be able to sense it as easily as you do in America. Like, you know when something's about to go down in America for the most part, or if there are signs, you can tell. But when you're in a different country, in a different culture, it's a lot harder to know when something is right around the corner or something's brewing. Now, look, I'm not Liam Nelson or something from those transporter movies. So I'm not like a karate god, Bruce Lee, or nothing like that. So I'm not talking about being able to fight my way out of situations. Really, I'm talking about trying to stay 2 steps ahead of any and all situations that can occur before they happen, and just being able to look and be aware of what's going on, type of thing. So maybe if you want to fully let your hair down, so to speak, Colombia may not be the best place for you. There's other places that are a lot more peaceful. Just like think of the Caribbean islands. Like, you got tons of different islands. You just want to go somewhere, relax, see the beach, see a little bit of culture, whatever. There's other places, but Colombia has its own special sauce, from the culture, from the people, from the food, from the landscapes, from the biodiversity, and so on and so forth. So I see why a lot of people love to come here. Not saying you shouldn't come here. I'm just saying be aware of how to move in a dangerous environment. That's the key. You can still have fun, but you have to stay on your P's and Q's, guys. All right? That's the key. It's not for the faint of heart. From the start, Colombia was a place where certain people who wanted to venture off into the unknown could do that, and it likely would happen here. There's a lot of unknown. When I first came to Colombia, it was a very kind of stereotype place. It had a lot of bad dialogue about it, and I just wanted to see what it was like going to a country far, far away, that wasn't really connected to the United States, so to speak, like Mexico, or kind of like the Caribbean islands. They're not attached, but they're close. Yeah, so I just wanted to see what the place was like, and yeah, I had a craving to see that unknown. At that time, back in like 2016, there wasn't that much chatter around Colombia being a great vacation destination. So, I just kind of took a leap of faith there. For me, it delivered, on the unknown adventure piece. From the moment I got here, I felt like I am far away from the United States. Nobody can rescue me. I'm on my own. But I felt like, these are people too. These are people, reasonable people that I could deal with. They're living their life, and I just wanted to learn more about what makes them tick, how they get to this point in their history, and so on and so forth. I think when gringos like you and I venture into these types of countries, we have to respect that place, and above all, protect yourself, but intelligently. Don't be someone for them to make an example out of, you know. Don't be a crash dummy. Because if you let that happen, what's worse than losing your life, you know? You got to protect your life above all. That shouldn't change when you go somewhere like Colombia. I assume you probably have the same mentality in the United States. So you got to keep that mentality in Colombia, or anywhere in South America really can be cutthroat. It's astonishing how the have and the have-nots can exist so separately in the United States. But the truth is that there are more people with money in the United States. Like, there's a bigger middle class, that type of thing. So I can see how people could be raised in the United States and not have the street smarts to be in a place like Colombia, because they never had to go to those dangerous environments in the United States, in their own country. You know, like, you can live a completely suburban lifestyle and never hit the hood and get ingratiated with that culture your whole life, living in the United States. And then a lot of those people come out here to Colombia, you know, people that have never had those type of dangerous experiences back home. And so they just don't have a guard up. They never built up a guard to put up in the first place. So when that perfect mix happens, you can get some naive tourists out here, you know, and I think that's been a major contributor to the stigma at this point, day and age, with Colombia, because a lot of what the American or gringo groups are talking about has to do with crimes that involve gringos, right? And there's a disproportionate amount of crimes going on involving gringos than involving like the general population here. So that must say that there's something going on. There's a focus on the gringos. Is it the gringos are being too sloppy, or is it that the Colombian people are targeting the gringos? And I would argue it's a little bit of both, you know? And that's why I'm making this video, because I want to make people aware that, look, you may be aware of the danger here, but you need to be prepared on how to move here. You know, it's a whole thing, man. Like, people skip that whole course, you know, in school, in the street school, you know, like where you pick up your street smarts. So I may not be able to teach you all that in this video today, but I just want you to get aware of it. And then you could book a consultation and we could get into a few things here specific in Medellin and Colombia. But yeah, I think when the gringos, when we come out to these types of countries, you gotta protect yourself and be very smart. If not, they will make an example out of you, and you don't want that, because if you let that happen, it's bad. I've seen it happen. Rest in peace to all the gringos out here that died. You know, it's a lot of them. I think in Colombia, it's far harder to hide from the poverty, and because of that, most Colombians have the respect of what could happen in their own country. You know, just even in a nice part of town, like, most of the Colombians with money, they move a certain way. It's almost militant. Like, they have all these places that do bulletproof windows out here. You know, most of the nice luxury vehicles have been bulletproofed out here. They don't stop at stoplights, you know, at late at night. It just goes on and on. They gate their communities, or, you know, a lot of people have security. I've seen people hopping out with security. They do their tents super dark here, so you can't see who's in the car. It's just a lot, you know, on how they move. And that's the rich people that have cars and stuff. Unfortunately for the people that live in these popular barrios, they just have to continue on with life. A lot of them get robbed themselves. If you've been living here and you made friends with a few Colombians, you probably heard stories that Colombian people have told you about them getting robbed. So the Colombian people get robbed too, even in their hoods, you know, but that's more of just a poverty thing. Most of the gringos are not involved with that. Most of the gringo crimes happen in certain areas, Laureles, Envigado, Poblado, that type of thing, because that's where the gringos are most of the time. Most of the time, right? Because there's a lot of gringos that live in the hood too, but for the people that are from here, the Colombians, even for them, even though they may get robbed, it's not worth living in fear. So they just continue living their lives, you know, as normal. So how do I add value to this situation? Like I said, I just wanted to call out to the people that come out here kind of naive, thinking that, oh, if I just stay in Poblado or if I just stay in Laureles, I'll be fine. You probably will be fine, but the key to really not getting robbed out here is just being awareness, you know, just knowing how to move. Like, you just don't step out with certain things on in certain places when you have no protection and you are walking on the street or something like that. So I just want to tell y'all to think about that as you're coming out here. I know a lot of people love Colombia, and Colombia loves tourism. You know, there's not enough of that narrative going around, but they've benefited a lot from it. And I want you guys to get down in the comments and let me know what you think about this subject. Follow me on Instagram at Kari.𝐥𝐤𝐞. We lit. It's your boy Kari. I'm out. Peace.